Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. This is the Bangkok Lion. I hope all of you are doing great. Today I got a very special topic for us to talk about. But before we go on with that, I want you to hit that subscribe button and also hit that notification button so that every time I post something new, you won't miss it, all right? Also click share and like on this video so that others may see it and I can get more subscribers and we can get this thing going, all right? Our topic for today are 10 ways on how you can tell you have a good boxing trainer. Now, nowadays, there's a lot of gyms out there, there's a lot of trainers, but how can you tell if you have a good one, right? Some people, they're very good at selling themselves, the way they look, the way they got the slick talk going on, but what could be a surface thing doesn't necessarily translate to their knowledge inside. So I'm gonna give you guys 10 ways on how you can tell if you have a good boxing coach. All right, so number one, he assesses your skill level or capabilities before training you. What does that mean? Now, I've been a trainer for 14 years and I've been training also for a long time. And I've been to different gyms all around the world, a lot in Thailand, of course. And you see trainers, I've encountered trainers that they're just always rushing you, right? Like they never see what kind of capabilities you have. Normally when I train somebody new, I let them shadow box first without any judgments. And from there, I can kind of see what kind of like skill level they're in. And I know what I could work with or work from, right? Now, that's very important because if you just standardize everybody and you expect the same thing from everybody, nobody's gonna learn, right? The ideology of like assessing somebody's skill level first before you train them is very important because that's how you know what to fix, okay? So I'm not saying that it's always applicable for everybody, but it's always good to see somebody, a trainer, to assess your skills first or your level before actually giving you like complicated combinations or asking you for 100 kicks and so on and so forth, right? So always make sure that the trainer is very attentive to you as a paying customer, as somebody who actually wants to learn the sport or the craft. Number two, he makes sure that you have a very solid foundation on your basics and fundamentals before he teaches you and moves on to other things. Once again, this is kind of like the first topic that we talked about, right? A lot of trainers, they just rush you and they want you to do some complicated moves here and there, but they don't understand that you haven't been taught these moves, or even if you were, you haven't been actually practicing it for that long. And this is the reason why no matter what they tell you, you can't comprehend it and you can't translate to physical action, right? But if the trainer makes sure that you have your solid foundation and that you can work this and that from the beginning, then giving you complicated things or more complex combinations and movements is not going to be as hard, right? So it's always about making progress and making sure that you have a solid foundation. So this is a very important key aspect in being a trainer. So if your trainer is just making you do all types of stuff that you have no idea of, of what the terminologies are or what the movement is, then that might not be a good sign. Number three, he corrects your mistakes as it happens. Now, there's always a thin red line between correcting too much and correcting enough, right? You have some very sort of like obsessive trainers that just corrects you with every single little thing that you don't get any workout at all, right? So you have to find, a coach has to find the balance between correcting and correcting enough and correcting too much, right? Now, you can't possibly correct everything in one session. So this whole thing has to grow progressively, right? But a coach who corrects you immediately knows what he's looking for, knows the mistakes that you're making, and they don't want you to develop a bad habit that can cost you injury later on or just not make you learn the proper way, okay? So corrections on the spot are always good. Look for these in the coach and see if they're doing it. If not, then once again, they're probably just rushing it, or they don't actually know what they're looking for as far as the mistakes that you make are concerned. Number 4, he simplifies the lesson for better understanding and not using such crazy ass big technical terms, right? Now, this whole thing, okay, every business, every service, I understand needs presentation, okay? You have your trainers who's dressed down from like, with Nike, with brands and everything from top to bottom, and they look nice and everything, but then what's inside isn't really all that. But what I'm trying to say is that a coach who knows his stuff very well does not need to repeatedly mention technical aspects and technical terms and all these other things, but instead they actually find ways on how to simplify the lesson so that the student may learn easier, right? This is how you can differentiate a coach who hasn't had much experience in teaching yet and the person who's been there a long time and looks for ways on how to simplify the lesson, right? Yes, you may use big words. Your client might be impressed because you know the scientific term of that, the anatomical term for this and that, or the movements and whatnot. But that won't, it's good to say it one time, but that won't really matter if they can't comprehend what the whole thing is about. So you gotta make sure that you tell them what the proper term is, and then you explain to them in the most simplest way that they can understand, right? And if they don't understand the first time, don't lose patience. You're a teacher, you're a coach, you're supposed to continuously find ways or terms or actions or whatnot on how they would understand the lesson. Sometimes what you think is simple is not simple to the client. It doesn't mean that they're stupid, it's just that they don't really know what's going on. That's why they're coming to you, for you to teach them. That is your principal objective, all right? Number 5. Now, this next topic is very, very important and very common when it comes to like gyms, especially in Thailand. I mostly seen this. A coach should never spend all his time in just getting you tired. Okay, asking for like 500 kicks for the same combo repetition over and over. That's just not the way. Okay, I always say that the people who does that, they want to make the person tired right away so that they can take a rest and then they can go on to the next client right away. And so it becomes a business style type of teaching, whereas okay, you're done, let me get the next one. And the more clients come, then the more income they can acquire, right? So it's quality versus like payments, or quality versus quantity type of like situation, right? But a true coach, a good coach, should never ever just get you tired. Yes, it will be there, but you have to get tired for the right reasons, okay? You want to be tired and also walking out of that gym knowing that you actually learned something new. And this is very vital, this is very important. If you walk out there and saying that, shit, it's just the same thing over and over, yeah, I'm tired as hell, but I haven't learned a single thing for the past 2 weeks, then it might be time for you to change your boxing coach, okay? Number 7, he finds balance in not rushing the lesson, but also not dragging it way too much. Now, what does this mean? This is in relation to what I said earlier about some people correcting too many mistakes, right? Now, there are people who just focuses so much on one thing that they forget to have fun, and they forget that there's actually a workout that's supposed to be done at the end of the day. Some clients, especially on lower levels, should not be barraged with so much technical details and so much repetition that it becomes, their brain just becomes tired and blank, right? So a good coach always finds the balance between focusing on a particular lesson, but also not dragging it too much. Now remember, the lessons cannot be just one day. You can come back to it the next day the next session or whatever the case may be, right? So each coach has to find their own vibe, their own groove of balancing between, focusing on a lesson and not dragging it too much. Okay? All right, number 8. A coach should always learn to understand your weakness, works around it to make it better. Now, all of us have weaknesses, right? You might be good at some aspects in boxing, but there's always something that you might need some work on. It doesn't have to be boxing, it could be anything, right? So a good coach, I believe, is the person who doesn't just brush away your weaknesses. Because I've encountered this a lot of times. Like, I've seen coaches who, if the person couldn't kick or punch properly, they literally just give up right away, and they make them do some other things, and sometimes they even kind of rudely call them out. That's not the way. I mean, we have better ways on how to correct mistakes, and I think if a coach is good, he can always work around somebody's weakness and turn it into a strength. You can adjust. It doesn't have to be the big changes right away. You can adjust little things here, little things there, and at the end of the day, you'll find that these little changes is gonna accumulate, and you find that the result will be a whole lot better. Everybody has a different learning curve, so make sure that you don't uniform and standardize everybody and the way you teach. Okay? Number 9, he still practices what he teaches. Now, this is very important. I'm not saying that an old trainer should still be very active and whatnot, but for the younger trainers, I always suggest that you still practice what you're teaching. Not only because for the fact of oh, look, your coach is still boxing and whatnot, that's good. No, it's for your own sake as a coach. If you're consistently training and you're continuously learning your craft, then you're gonna get better. There's no way but up. The only reason why you're stagnant and that you're not learning anything else is because you're not putting in the effort to do so. It's very important to keep practicing what you're preaching or what you're teaching, and at the same time adding more knowledge into your artillery, right? That's very important. So keep learning. Always be a student. Even if you're a high-level coach, always be a student first. Number 10, he's always learning and always open-minded. Very, very important. Saving the best for last. When I used to train a lot of people before, I think there was a point where I was doing 10 hours a day or 11 hours a day or something like that. And no matter what the case may be, I always saved an hour and a half to eat for 30 minutes. To eat and learn for an hour and take a nap for 30 minutes. 1 hour every day, 7 days straight of learning new things here and there. When it accumulates, next thing you know that you have a lot of lessons already learned, and you have new knowledge, and you should never just go your own way. I've always been very open when it comes to my students to let them talk and suggest this and that. A good coach is the one that hears you out and doesn't just shove your problems away or what you're saying. I never believe in the whole pulling rank when it comes to students. I think that both parties should always learn from each other. Okay, you might be the experienced one, but if your brain is not entertaining any new knowledge or suggestions, then you're just not open-minded like that. Nothing else is gonna come in, okay? So make sure that you have a coach that you can talk to and not just bang, 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 bang. Okay, rest, we're done. Okay, so these are the 10 ways you can tell if you have a good coach or not, all right? So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate your time. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. Hit that bell, the notification button right there, so every time I post something new, you're not gonna miss it. All right, I'm looking for 1,000 subscribers now. Hit me up, let me know what's up, and I'm gonna make more videos for you guys and share you my knowledge. Once again, this is the Bangkok Lion, aka Coach JR. founder and head trainer here at Lionshead Boxing Academy, Bangkok, Thailand. Wishing everybody a good day, stay safe, and keep training.